when it comes to matches when you're using at least a support, especially like Rafaela. So what I did is, so here we go. At the very first, I would go to the mid lane, and when I go to the mid lane, I at least try to at least poke my opponent with my first skill, because that's the first thing that I want to do. I just have to poke. I don't need to at least get more damage when it comes to doing that. Sometimes I had it in the bush. Yeah, see? I just poke. Because Rafaela's first skill has a lot of range when you're using him. So though the damage is a little slower and a little lower than before, but you can see that it actually aggravates the opponent. And also, when you are using Rafaela, always stick to the tower when you're outnumbered, because being a support means that you have no way of other supports or damage that you can get, so you just have to keep poking. What I'm using right here, I just keep spinning around. See, I just keep spinning around. See, I just keep spinning around just right there. See, keep avoiding them. Just stick to the tower, because, and also my mana is being depleted. But I get more experience than one of my teammates because I just keep poking. That's what you do in the early game. When you're using Rafaela, you just keep poking them. If you get lucky, you can also, there, you just keep poking, because the first skill Rafaela can at least damage multiple targets at once. And also, when you are using Rafaela, you should at least go back to your base right away in the early game, because when you have no mana, you're completely useless as a support. Also, there we have map awareness too, so, but I mostly stay in the middle because it is one of the most important thing that you can do. Just keep doing that. Also, the normal attack of Rafaela might be low, but it's very useful because it can still poke. And also, it gives you additional mana. So when you are using Rafaela in the early game, don't always spam healing. Don't always focus on healing, because Rafaela isn't just a walking fountain. He's also a walking buff. Because the first skill is the very most important thing when you're using Rafaela. Always use the first skill every time when you have the chance. I don't give a shit about healing, because at the end of the day, healing can only boost my speed, but poking people can gives you at least slowing them down and also giving me much more damage. So at first, when I was trying to get more of it, my first inventory that I'm trying to get is that crystallized one, that fire wand that actually gets scorching damage. See right here, it's a pretty stupid move to do this, because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're actually noobs yet here. And also, I'm always focusing on Sun, because Sun can actually double his clones. So the Link is also a problem, but I just keep poking them and poking them. I'm not going around. See, I'm just keep spinning and spinning around. Nothing. See? When you are using Rafaela in the mid lane, always stick to your tower. Don't go. And also, when there is an opponent, you should also just hide in the bush. And also, sometimes Rafaela can also be a tank from time to time because you can heal, but don't do it if you're low in mana. That's the first thing, because Rafaela can always spam her health when she has lots of mana. But the only problem is she becomes a little squishy, but she's semi-tank. That's why I like using her. So at the very least, here's what I do. See, I just keep. Right now, my I make all of the opponents busy in the middle lane in the early game, so that my teammates can farm. And also when I keep using the my ulti, I always use it at the very least when in the long range or the short range, because when that happens, I can stun multiple targets at once. And also this this right here, this right here, that inventory right there is much important than anything else, because at that time when you are using it, you're not just slowing down the opponents, but you're also burning them, which also gives you additional damage, even though that you're a support. Sometimes when you're a support, just don't always aim for healing. Sometimes you have to give them damage too. And also, Rafaela is like a driver. She might not be a fighter, she might not get lots of damage, but if she has unlimited mana, she's unstoppable in team fights. Well, at the very least, that's what you can do. Also, when you are using Rafaela, always stick to your marksman, because it's very important. Also, when you have nothing else to do, always use the battle spell for healing, or at least sprint, because Rafaela is actually a fast runner. So in this gameplay, it's already mid game. So my teammates has already farmed a lot. So this was actually their mistake, not mine. But I saved the main player, which is Bruno, because he's actually our key player. I always keep protecting the key players in order to win, because when you're Rafaela, no matter how good you are as support, if your key player is not that good, you won't be able to survive. I could have had it, but the recall was there. And also, don't be afraid to clash with people when you are using Rafaela. Just maintain your distance a little bit. Keep poking them, even in the mid game, because even though that your damage is lowered and not much substantial, your speed is actually much more better than anything. And also, you can be a good bait. See, even though that their ultimates is quiet, you know, the damage is pretty good. Though the only problem is Rafaela can be semi-tanky because of her unlimited healing, and she's a fast driver. And also, always keep spamming your attacks, your passive, because it grants you lots of mana and magical power and energy. So my emblem for this is always magical, because for me that's much more important when you're using Rafaela. At the very least, when I'm using Rafaela in the early game, I don't always roam around. I always stick to my teammates. But sometimes that's not gonna fly. So sometimes I switch from teammates to teammates so that I could be unpredictable. See, even though that Granger was able to do lots of damage to me, his ult, I wasn't able to be damaged that much because I'm semi-tanky now. And here I always get back at this one. There we go. When you are in a corner, just fight. don't run away, because at the very least, it's either you can be a bait, or you can at least wear them off or distract them for a small while. Because when you're a support, you can act as a tank from time to time, and you can also act as a giver of healing or a buffer. So in this one, I'm already stacked with lots of mana, so I can be in the front from time to time. And also when you're using your, always spam your first skill. So yeah, I'm always using that, at the very least. Because Rafaela is pretty good when it comes to chasing opponents, because of his second skill. So I always use that, even now in the early mid game. Right now the opponents are very confused because, yes, there we go. When you are using Rafaela, always stick with your marksman. Fighters are also good too, but marksman is much better. At the very least, when you're using Rafaela, you can either use buff or disable. But right now I'm using disable because it's much better. Right now I'm out of mana and I have nothing else I can do about it, so I have to go home. I can support them without my mana anyway. So I go home at least. And then I saw Ling in here. So right now I'm not sure if I can go with Ling. But at least this Badang was there with me. Alright, right now the opponent is grouping up. They're already stuck. And right now they're pretty stupid, so at the very least I have nothing else I can do about that. They were pretty stupid at this time. Right now I just I always go stick with all of my teammates so that I won't get hit, because I'm very essential into their survival. This time around in the late game, I will spam at least my second skill. This one, I think this was my mistake, because I was trying to get the Lord. I don't know about it, but I'm not really needed there. But my second skill can speed up their movements. I don't know about the attack speed though. Even in the late game, you just keep poking and poking. It's very essential to keep poking. And also you have to hide in the bush when you're using Rafaela at the very least. Don't expose yourself because you're the healer. Sometimes you can be a fighter too, but that's not your main role. Your main role is to distract, to maneuver, and to drive. You drive your whole team. You can't be a tank, but you can at least make your... In here, they're already wiped out because I've already driven them to an extent. Now Ling has no other choice but to use his ultimate so that he could protect the base. And we won. And that's how you use Rafaela in Mobile Legends, at least for my experience. I was MVP. Yes, I had 0 deaths. I'm a ringer. So thank you guys for watching.